Hey, all you Benson's Fish Room people out there, it's Ryan here from Benson's Fish Room, and I'm sorry about being MIA for the last few months, but I was scared to death of COVID. No, I could care less. Anyway, I'm going to do a review of a brand new product that we've had in the store for about 3 or 4 months. It's a UNS Pro 2-stage regulator. Somewhere towards the end of the video, you're going to see a coupon code for our website, bensonsfishroom.com, to save 15% off on it. So stay tuned. So what we're looking at today is the UNS Pro dual stage CO2 regulator. Came out about 3 or 4 months ago. We've had them in the shop now for 3 or 4 months. People have been using them. They're awesome. I want to show you some of the features and why they're so good. They're so good. So let's dig into this box and see what we got. Obviously, you got a manual, which we really don't need. Ooh. I love the brushed steel look. That is it. This is the Dual Stage Pro, and the reason they call this one the Pro is because you can add on additional modules for more than one tank. It comes set up to do 2 tanks. Let's see if we can. Let's see what we can do here. Let's take this off, show you how it works. But what's really nice is you only need 1 regulator now to operate almost your whole fish room. It's really going to depend on your size tank that you're going to use, your CO2 tank. Obviously, if it's a 5-pounder, which is probably the most common for these, you're going to want, I wouldn't go more than maybe 3 or 4 of them. But once you bump up to a 10-pounder or even bigger, you can do a whole fish room with these. And for 30 bucks, instead of having to buy a whole new regulator, it's good to go. Once you get the screws out of it, they just come right out. This just pops right off. You can run 1 tank, or you can add another one to run 2, or you can even get an additional module and add a 3rd one on there, or 4th, 5th, 6th. You just screw it back on and it's good to go. What makes a good regulator, in my opinion, is the needle valves that control your bubble counters, these right here. And I'm going to hook this up for you and show you how well they work. But a better regulator is going to have really fine threads to be able to adjust those bubbles down to 1 bubble every half second, whatever you want. The one real easy. The cheaper models out there, you have to spin this, a smidge, just a hair, and you'll go from 1 bubble to 10 bubbles, like within a millimeter. So the better threads, you can adjust it a lot easier. It also comes with a built-in seal for going from the regulator to the tank, so you don't have to keep looking for that white little disc. These seals do wear out. I would probably say replace them every 6 months to a year. They do give you a couple extras in the bag, so you're good to go there, but it's probably just a regular old seal that you can pick up anywhere. This will mount onto a 5-pound tank. You can also get, I was just talking to the guy from UNS, you can also get additional nuts here, and there's an Allen wrench right there that you can unscrew this whole thing right off and put a different one on. So if you wanted to use like a paintball tank or a smaller tank than a 5-pounder, you can do that. It's got 2 gauges. 1 gauge reads your pressure in your tank. The other is your pressure out to your fish tanks. A full tank should read about 800 psi on a 5-pounder. The operating PSI for this regulator. They recommend is about 25 PSI. All right, so it comes with your solenoid already attached on there with a wall wart thing that plugs in there. Always want to plug these into a light timer because you don't want your CO2 running at night. You'll suffocate your fish. What I recommend is about a half hour before your lights come on, your regulator should start up, and about a half an hour before your lights go off, it should shut down. That way it has enough time in the morning or when it first comes on to ramp up the CO2 so when the lights come on, the plants are ready to rock and roll right off the bat. At night, you want to disperse some of that CO2 that's already in the water, so that's why you shut the CO2 down half hour to an hour before the lights go off, so that way the time the lights go off, a lot of the CO2 is already evaporated, or not evaporated, released out into the atmosphere. Something like that, I don't know how it works. All right, so now that we kind of know how this is working, we're gonna do a little how to set it up. I'll grab a 5-pound tank and we'll set this thing up and I'll show you how it works. Be right back. Finally got everything all together here to set it up. I had to grab some water, I had to grab an extension cord, I had to grab a tank, a whole bunch of other stuff. When I was emptying the box, I noticed I had one of these, which is really handy. It is a regulator wrench. What you're going to do is you're going to take your regulator, start it up right there, get it on there. You don't need one of those silicone or Teflon seals with these because they got the seal built right in. Screw that on there. Little wrench, just give it a nice little snug push. All right. These are your bubble counters. These tops unscrew. So we're going to unscrew them. Generally, I recommend using a mineral oil in here, not using water. Water evaporates. You're going to have to take it apart and empty it. I've had tanks at home with mineral oil that had mineral oil in them for 2 years. And you never have, it doesn't evaporate, doesn't go anywhere. All right, so we got those off. We're going to add a little bit of water to each one of these. You want to put enough water to almost get to the top, about 3/4 of the way. All right, we are going to put the tops back on. These are acrylic or plastic, so you want to be careful not to cross thread because you will wreck them. Usually what I do is I put it on so it's nice and then I back it off a half a turn and it drops right in. You back it up and then you put it right on and it goes right on. All right, these little nuts will come off. These are going to hold your airline hose, which is one thing that I forgot. So I'll be right back. I'm going to go get some airline hose. I got them. So what you want to do is you want to make sure those go on nice and snug. Like that, all the way down. And I forgot to tell you, you always want to put these on first. Just normally you would have long airline hoses. You always want to make sure you use silicone. I don't know if I said that already. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Slip those on nice like that, and that little nut, the knurly nut thing, will go right down on top. Tighten it right up. Same with this one. Normally your hoses would go off into your tank. We're not going to go that far into it. All right, so that's set up. I'm going to turn, you want to make sure this is all the way down, which it is. We're going to turn the tank on. You're going to see this one should go up to about 800 PSI, like so. Right, that's about 25 PSI coming out. It's already hooked up. The solenoid is active right now, so now you want to adjust these to get, most people shoot for about a bubble a second. It really all depends on what you have for lighting, what you have for size of your tank, and what you have for plants in your tank. Obviously, the more plants you have, the better lighting. The plants are going to need a lot more CO2, so you have to play with it. And there is ways to monitor how much CO2 is in your tank. You can go online, find that. I might be able to post a link to something that we use. You're basically measuring your general hardness and your pH and there's a graph, and you can do all this. There's also things you can put in the water, in the tank. pH checkers that add like a pH solution, and then the CO2 gets in there and changes it just like it would in your little vials that you're testing your pH with. So now we're gonna start messing with this. We're gonna try to get to about a bubble a second. And like I said, the better the regulator, the better generally the threads are on your bubble counter. So I'm gonna crack it right there. And we're at about a bubble every 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about every 6. So we're gonna bump it just a hair. So bubble every, ready, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see where we go here, ready? That's about a bubble every second. Now in this one, you could have, this could be a 10-gallon tank with a couple plants in it. This one could be on a 55-gallon tank, and you might want that sucker, you know, pumping like great. What's the PSI say there?
I'm sorry. 15.
No, I gotta bump that up still a little bit more. There we go. There we go. So these are completely separate. So one tank is a big tank with lots of plants, and you might want that thing going crazy. Well, that's basically how it works. If you're interested in one of these really nice regulators, come check out our website. It's bensonsfishroom.com. bensonsfishroom.com. I'll say it one more time. bensonsfishroom.com. And if you use the coupon code UNS15, you can save 15% off on one of these regulators. I don't sell the tanks online. You can get that at any welding store, any brewery store, a lot of different places sell it. CO2 is CO2. Don't let anybody tell you that there's food grade, non-food grade. The guys down at my shop, it was like, we sell you the same CO2 that we're selling for the restaurants for their soda. So CO2 is CO2. If you have any questions about this unit, post a comment down below. Make sure you check us out on Instagram, on Facebook, and all those other good places like that. And until next time, when in doubt, do a water change and stay fishing, my friends. Also, stay elevated. See you next time.